Throughout Metro Exodus are abandoned houses, flooded shelters and forgotten hideouts, filled with journal entries of people who never survived the wasteland. Some of these stories are tragic, others are deeply unsettling, and many reveal just how brutal life became after the collapse of the world. In this episode of Echoes of Survival, we'll be uncovering one of the many hidden stories scattered throughout the world of Metro Exodus, and piecing together what happened to the people who were left behind. To the southwest of the train terminal is an abandoned gas station that has been since taken over by bandits. Inside the station is a journal entry left behind during the early days following the nuclear strikes across Russia. The entry appears to belong to a worker stationed at what was supposed to be a government emergency fuel supply point. As the survivors continued arriving from across the region, it quickly became clear that the promised fuel shipment was never coming. "Nikolai, this can't go on like this forever. You must understand. We must either remove the sign or set up a roadblock or do something. The people keep on coming in." The writer describes families arriving nearly out of fuel, believing they had finally reached safety, only to discover there was nothing left to give them. The last family to arrive had to push their car over 6 kilometers, and they almost got violent when they found out there was no gas left. With winter approaching and supplies running low, the writer eventually decides to abandon the station and move toward a nearby train stranded on the bridge that still contains emergency rations. Luckily, we still have some of the emergency rations left in that train stuck on the bridge. By the end of the journal, the station had become another false hope in the wasteland, a place desperate survivors traveled to, believing salvation was waiting for them, only to find whatever hope had once remained there disappeared long ago. On the southern island is a train depot with a makeshift shelter built atop a concrete structure. Inside the shelter, you find the corpse of another follower of Salantius. Nearby lies a faded note revealing the man's final moments. At first, the note reads like a confession. The writer believes he had failed in his duty and sinned against the teachings of the cult. To whoever may find this note, may the Lord bless you and absolve you of all sins, for you are most definitely worthier of divine help than I ever was. I have sinned trying to achieve more than was ever expected of me, and I was punished for my folly. Rather than simply destroying what he believed to be an electrical demon, the writer admits he tried to lure it into a nearby watchman nest, hoping it would kill the mutants for him and earn him greater glory, but the plan quickly backfired. The demon killed the god-awful beasts, but now I can neither approach nor escape this place which now has become my grave. Trapped and unable to escape, the writer becomes consumed not by fear of death, but by the belief that he will never receive a proper burial according to the cult's traditions. My only regret is that my bones will remain here instead of being consumed by the starfish, forever denying me the rite of passage through the heavenly gates. By the end of the note, it's clear the writer accepted his fate, spending his final hours in prayer while waiting to die. And judging by the body still resting beside the shelter, no one ever came to answer his final wish. From Duke's train car, follow the railway to the next overpass. Below the overpass, you come across the burnt-out remains of a van abandoned near the bridge. Beside it lies the corpse of another follower of Salantius. Inside the van is a faded note addressed to one of the cult's patrol leaders. At first, the message recalls a group of cultists who had been sent away on a mission to hunt what they believed were electrical demons. "Brother Peter, you will have to abandon your holy quest and bring your party back. Salantius warns that a new group of outsiders has arrived at the gates of the Volga. Rather than fearing mutants or bandits, he believes the newcomers pose a greater threat, one capable of destroying the very foundation of the cult's faith. These seem not to only just be able to prey on our blood and fruit of our toil, but quite capable of assaulting and destroying the very foundations of our faith." The note ends with a final command from Salantius, ordering the demon fighters back to the bridge. Your demon fighters will have to return to the bridge and keep vigil until it is time to bring the mailed fist of the Lord's judgment upon the heads of the heretics. The journal never names the outsiders, but judging by where the note is found, it's almost certainly referring to Artyom and the Spartans. On a small island between the northern and southern regions of the Volga, you come across the corpse of a bandit. Beside the body is a journal entry revealing the scheme that never went as planned. At first, the note appears to be nothing more than a message between members of the same gang. The writer claims to have discovered the location of a hidden cache of supplies that was being transported to the nearby train terminal. Brother, I totally understand your lack of confidence, but he was telling the truth. I got the information from him personally. You know what I mean. Convinced the information is genuine, the writer urges his partner to move quickly before anyone else discovers the stash. He even agrees to split the loot evenly, offering his map and weapon while distracting the rest of the gang. We have to move quickly if we want that loot. I have given you the map and my gun. I will also keep the rest of the boys busy. Judging by the bandit's body still lying beside the note, it seems greed caught up with him long before he could ever claim his share. Directly north of Duke's train car, there is a bandit camp, marked with a human skull inside a triangle. On the ground level, you find several prisoners locked inside makeshift cages. Sitting on a nearby table is a note addressed to one of the gang's leaders. At first, the message appears to be nothing more than instructions passed between members of the bandit group. But it quickly reveals the gang's disturbing attitude towards the religious cult living throughout the Volga. The fanatics do not respect the code. They do things like feeding men to that fish of theirs. That is simply unacceptable amongst respectable folk. Rather than seeing the cultists as people, the bandits are ordered to treat them as livestock. That is why all respectable people are to treat them as cattle, not men. Do not carve them up, but put them in pens. The note then reveals an even darker truth. The prisoners aren't being held for ransom or interrogation. They're being collected and shipped to another group of criminals in Astrakhan. The journal reveals that for the bandits, human lives have become just another thing to trade.